Welcome back to another Engineering Manager vlog where I'll be taking you through a few of the different things that I do throughout my day as an engineering manager. So today is a pretty busy meeting day for me. I've got our all hands company-wide meeting in the morning. I've got a whole bunch of one-on-ones and then also a catch up with a few other engineering managers. So it gives us a bit of peer-to-peer session as well. We've also got a stand-up going on, but the bulk of today will be getting through my one-on-ones with the team. So with that said, let's get into it. So I quite enjoy one-on-ones. They're pretty fun to be able to catch up with the team, have a chat with people, see what's going on, and really get that feel for where the team's at. It gives me a great bit of information for the projects we're working on, the status of those. It will also help me make sure the team's performing well, make sure that I'm doing a good job, and that I'm not dropping the ball on anything as well. Remember, particularly for this week, because we're going into the holiday period, that most people should be pretty happy, pretty relaxed, wrapping down for the year. So these meetings should be a bit of fun, catching up on what people are doing for the holidays, and then that should be the biggest chunk of it. A lot of our work is done. We've got some things going on for the new year that we've kind of figured out already. So I've just come out of the company all hands, pretty good as well. Not too much going on there, just mostly a wrap up for the end of the year, going through some updates in terms of the business, and then some of the plans for the new year. We also have a question and answer period. So there's been a few projects going on that people are after some answers on, so questions in there, which is helpful for me as well. Plans for just come out of my first one-on-one for the day. Pretty good, pretty happy at this time of year. We're starting to wrap down for everything, so everyone's in good spirits. A lot of chat around holiday break, what's going on there, and finishing off the last couple of projects for the year. So we're pretty across. The team's done very well this year, and finishing everything for the end of the year, and then the projects we've got going on next year. Those are locked in, and we know what we'll be doing on when we get back in the next week or two. A lot of my team is not taking leave, which is pretty good, so we'll all be back on deck early January and able to start cracking into it. So after this, I will have what we call a donut with other engineering leaders. The reason we do these is to just get people familiar with each other. We're a fully remote company, so it's really important that we build these relationships and that we've got established processes for how do we talk to each other, and then those relationships are there that when things do happen, we're comfortable reaching out to an individual. So I've got one of those with one of the guys from our platform team, so I'll be chatting to him soon. And then after that, we've got our stand-up, which will be a good little update as well, and a nice little social event. So I will see you in a minute. So we just finished our stand-up. Very simple meeting for us. We run through all the normal stuff. So what are you working on today? What did you work on yesterday? Do you have any blockers? The team today is pretty good. Again, we're wrapping up for the year, so not too much going on right now. We also we have a bit of fun with our stand-ups, and this is a process a couple of people on the team helped implement, one guy in particular, and we'll go through and we'll add a bit of flair to it. So it could be like weekend highlights, recommendations. Today we did weekend highlights, so everyone gets to talk about their weekend a little bit, So we've gone through that now. That's a quick 20-minute meeting for us. Nothing too special. I've got a bit of a break in my day now, so I'm going to be getting into some of our ways of working document. I think I might have mentioned this in the last Engineering Manager vlog. Basically, we've got a few new team members that joined us, so we want to look at our ways of working again and figure out if the processes we had are where we want to be today. So for me, this means we've already had a meeting about it. We took down a bunch of notes during that, and now I'm writing some of these up and formalizing that process a little bit more. Once that's done, I'm going to share it back with the team. We will vote and agree on what we want to work on and how we want to work together. So I'm going to do that. I will see you in another couple of hours when I get out of my next one-on-one. I've just been writing this document for a little while, and I think it's worth calling out that this is a different kind of document to the one I was working on in the last vlog, where that document was very long and a lot of it had already been written before I showed up. This one, I'm writing it myself. So I'm actually using ChatGPT to help a little bit with this on some of the more generic pieces of like agile workflows. That's really helpful. We had a meeting which was about an hour long last week. We went through a whole bunch of thoughts and ideas, and everyone got to share their opinions on how we work together. From there, we've taken all these notes, and now I'm taking each of those notes and turning them into paragraphs, turning them to something that we can actually use, share them with new people, and when people aren't sure of the process of something, they have somewhere they can go look and get some of that information. This stuff is, good, important to have. Like, ideally, a team knows how to run itself and just kind of works how it does, but it's good to have that like solid process that everyone's agreed to, that they can refer back to. That will always be useful, even if someone might not check it for 6 months. And it's they're living documents, right? You don't write this stuff and it goes away. You continue to focus on it. You continue to refine it, rebuild this process, add stuff as you need it, remove the things that aren't working. That's my goal with this document. It's going to be pretty short, I think, not too long, but should give some really good, clear, actionable pieces that we can share around. I've just come out of another one-on-one, and another little tip or a recommendation that I would have when you're running these meetings is just keep a sort of personal measure on how each individual is going. So the purpose of the one-on-one, we have like status updates on things. That is fine, but it doesn't really help that person. So what we want to look at as well is how the team changes over time. So one person might be working on a project, it's going really well, they're doing great. Another person can be working and keep hitting roadblocks, feel like they're not doing a good job. Something might be happening at home. There's a whole bunch of different scenarios, right? And so when you check in weekly with these people and give it a good amount of time, right? It's like half an hour or an hour, however long you feel you need. You're checking in, you're getting that constant vibe. Even remote, I'm able to tell someone doing well, someone's like feeling worse, whatever it is. And hopefully you're able to get in front of some of those problems and get ahead of it. I would also recommend when you're running these, have a bit of buffer time at the end of the meeting, just in case you run over. It's the worst when you start having a really deep conversation with someone, you're really getting into a topic, and then you go, sorry, I've got to jump. I've booked my next meeting like immediately afterwards. So I'd recommend having like 10 to 15 minute buffer there, which will just give you the space if you need it. And if you don't, that's fine too. You can go grab a coffee or a bit of water or something. So I've just come through my last one-on-one for the day. So it's been a big block. Probably, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 meetings today. And all of them were between 30 and 60 minutes. So big chunk of time today. I've got a bit of time left in the afternoon where I can crack into my ways of working doc again. And the reason we do one-on-ones has come up, right? So I've met with one of my team members, this last one for the day, and we were chatting about this doc and how he's working with some of the other team members, and he's actually got some really good ideas that have come through as well. So now I'm able to grab his thoughts, start adding them to the doc, and I was able to have that more personal conversation where this person might not have felt as comfortable bringing that up in a larger group meeting. And I'm happy to be that representative for those ideas. So this is, really good. It's also helpful because I can get some different opinions as well. So sometimes people don't want to have an opinion that might be going against the group in a meeting. And so now we've got a bit of a foothold here where we can soften some of that process we were looking at, raise some of those points and figure out, do we need to add this whole thing or can we add part of it? What's the right way to go here? So lots of options here, and really it's worth running these weekly. Previously at other companies, we've done them like fortnightly, which is okay, but I think you end up with a lot of space and people forget things. So worth running them weekly and keeping that constant communication open with the team as well. Like I really enforce to my team that just because we have this set time each week doesn't mean that that's all you get me for. Like if you need a call on some random day, like let's do that too. Keep it open. It can be a Slack message, it can even be a phone call, taking phone calls for people late at night before, like whatever it is. Don't feel like you've only got to wrap everything up into this meeting. Another tip that I would give for a one-on-one is make sure you're going in with a clear agenda. It is pretty bad when you go into one of these meetings and you go, actually I don't have anything to talk to you about. Just over the week between meetings, try to find something, whatever it is. It can just be a status update. It could be like a project you know that they're working on. It could be a personal project that they're working on. Whatever it is, just try to make sure that you've got something to talk about. Keep it moving, right? Whenever you're running out of things to say, you can look back onto your agenda and you'll be good to go. The other part of that is encouraging your team member to add their own items to the agenda. Now that could be in Slack. We use a HR tool called Lattice to do this. My team member can add agenda items. I can add agenda items. I mean, just like keep it moving, right? So now when we start our meeting, we can click into Lattice. We've got 3 or 4 items to talk about, and that's going to keep the conversation flowing. And then gives us some time as well just to have a chat and see how both of us are going. Like, team likes hearing about me, I like hearing about them. So get an agenda, make sure you know what you're talking about. And part of this, and another guide for how to run these is make sure you're taking notes. It is really frustrating, and I've had this, is when you tell a manager something and they don't remember it the next time you talk to them. So make sure you're taking notes somewhere that you will be able to find them quickly, preferably somewhere you can search them. And you can just do a little query because you go, that guy told me about something. This can really make it feel like you're really attentive to your team members. Make sure that they know that you care. Because a big chunk of this is not only are you doing the right stuff, but how do they feel when you're doing it? Are you someone that's really domineering? Like you've got a full checklist of everything that you're doing with them, or are you someone that's taking it a bit more relaxed? And that'll be up to you on how you want to run these sessions. But make sure you're taking notes. Keep it somewhere you can refer back to, and it can be really handy. You want to have private notes and public notes. There are things that you both want to remember, and there are things that you as a manager might want to keep to yourself and keep away. Just thought of for running one-on-ones is to make sure that you're being attentive and present during the meeting. So what you don't want to just sort of have is going I'm gonna look on my second screen, I'm going to be playing some game, I'm going to be on Slack, I'm going to be checking an email, whatever it is. Don't do that. It is really important that you're attentive in these meetings, that you're giving your team members the care and the attention that they need, and that they're expecting from you. You want them to be present when you're talking to them, and they want you to be present for them. So make sure you're doing that. It's really obvious when you're not. I'm sure we've all been in meetings where you could tell someone's eyes keep on darting off to the side and they're not really paying attention to you. Or you might ask a question and they go, sorry, I wasn't listening. Make sure that's not you, especially when it's a one-on-one. You might be able to hide in really big group meetings, but when it's a one-on-one conversation, it's really important that the care you have for your team comes through in those conversations. Another thing that's worth keeping track of, worth noticing when you're running these sessions is to measure differences between your team, right? So you might have 5 people on a squad. Try to see how different people are going, how different people are reacting to things. So this could be a company announcement, it could be on a squad level, whatever it is. Just try to gauge where people are at, because it's important for the individual to be feeling good and the squad. And you can pick sort of where people are, how people are feeling, which will help you figure out what kind of personality they have and the best way to work with them. You'll learn this over time as you go with your team. It'll always take, it could be a month or two before you actually feel really comfortable with your squad members, but worth doing. It's worth putting that investment in. Keep your notes, your private notes that I've talked about before, log those and make sure that you're referring back to them so you can gauge your team over time. I mentioned in the last session about operational excellence and the team sentiment. It's similar to that, but more for the individual. We want to keep the team happy and moving forward, and like they're progressing not only for their individual projects, but also their career. We don't want people to quit because they think that's the only way to get a promotion, or we don't want them to quit because they feel like their voice isn't heard. So make sure that when you're working with the teams, you are keeping those measures. Sometimes people are going to be upset about things. The company might do something. CEO might make an announcement that they hate. That's fine. But it's all about, for you as a team leader, how can you get them back on track? How can you like commiserate with them? Go, yeah, that sucks, but like, let's keep moving forward. Whatever it is, just make sure that you're keeping a track on it, and you'll notice those dips over time. And that can be really where like you as a manager can start to thrive and really make an impact on your squad. Not too much like, I guess, code or writing work today. A lot of meetings, heavy on meetings. I try to put them all on one day. That it helps me a lot. I get pretty tired when I do a lot of these, so it's worth just dedicating a day to it and getting through it. You will have your own way of getting around it, so good luck. Hope you enjoyed the video. Big part of management is keeping the team happy, keeping across the work they're doing, and making sure that you're keeping track of that over time. That can make a really big impact for yourself, for the organization, and for your team members as well. So end of the year, pretty good. I might try and get one of these out in the next week or so. Maybe just working on some personal projects as well. And I got a few new video ideas, which will be looking at some more code samples, getting into projects, and building out actual sites and tools. So that is all for today. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye.